Hello everyone, welcome to my MBA blog. Today our topic is steps in scientific decision making. Decision making can be regarded as the mental processes, cognitive process resulting in the selection of a course of action among several alternative scenarios. Every decision making process produces a final choice. The output can be an action or an opinion of choice. Decision making involves a number of steps which need to be taken in a logical manner. This is treated as a rational or scientific decision making process which is lengthy and time consuming. Such lengthy process needs to be followed in order to take rational scientific results oriented decisions in organization. So decision making process prescribes some rules and guidelines as to how a decision should be taken or made. This involves many steps logically arranged. It was Peter Drucker who first strongly advocated the scientific method of decision making in his world. The famous book, The Practice of Management, which is published in 1955. Drucker recommended the scientific method of decision making, which, according to him, involves the following six steps that I mentioned right now or described right now. First, defining or identifying the managerial problem. Second one is analyzing the problem. Third point, developing alternative solutions. Fourth one is selecting the best solutions out of the available alternatives. Fifth point, converting the decision into action. And the last but not the least, sixth point is ensuring feedback for follow up. So, first we discuss about the first point, that he mentioned, identifying the problem. Identification of the real problem before a business enterprise is the first step in the process of decision making. It is rightly said that a problem well defined in a problem half solved. Information relevant to the problem should be gathered so that critical analysis of the problem is possible. This is how the problem can be diagnosed. Clear distinction should be made between the problem and the symptoms which may cloud and real issue. In brief, the manager should search the critical factor at work. It is the point at which the choice applies. Similarly, while diagnosis the real problem, the manager should consider causes and find out whether they are controllable or uncontrollable. My second point is analyzing the problem. After defining the problem, the next step in the decision making process is to analyze the problem in depth. This is necessary to classify the problem in order to know who must take decision and who must be informed about the decision taken. So here I mentioned right now the four factors should be kept in mind. First, futurity of the decision. Second, the scope of the impact. Third, number of qualitative considerations involved. And the fourth one is uniqueness of the decision. And third, the collecting relevant data. After defining the problem and the analyzing its nature, the next step is to obtain the relevant information data about it. There is information flood in the business world due to a new developments in the field of information technology. All available information should be utilized fully for analysis of the problem. This brings clarity to all aspects of the problem. Now, my fourth point is developing alternative solution. After the problem has been defined, diagnosed on these basis of relevant information, the manager has to determine available alternative courses of action that could be used to solve the problem at hand. Only realistic alternatives should be considered. It is equally important to take into account time and cost constraints and psychological barriers that will restrict that number of alternatives if necessary. Group participations techniques may be used while developing alternative solutions, as depending on one solution is undesirable. My fifth point is selecting the best solution. After preparing alternative solutions, the next step in the decision making process is to select an alternative that seems to be most rational for solutions the problem. The alternative thus selected must be communicated to those who are likely to be affected by it. Acceptance of the decision by group members is always desirable and useful for its effective implementation also. Now the next point is converting decision into action. After the selection of the best decision, the next step is to convert the selected decisions into an effective action. Without such action, the decision will remain merely a declaration of good intentions. Here, the manager has to convert his decision into their decision through his leadership. For this, the subordinates should be taken in confidence that they should be convinced about the correctness of the decision. Thereafter, the manager has to take follow-up steps for the execution of decision taken. Next point is ensuring feedback. Feedback is the best or the last step in the decision making process. So here the manager has to build in arrangements to ensure feedback for continuously testing actual developments against the expectations. It is like checking the effectiveness of follow-up measures. Feedback is possible in the form of organized information, reports, and personal observations. Feedback is necessary to to decide whether the decision already taken should be continued or to be modified in the right or the light of changed condition. A general rational decision making model. Rational decision making process or processes consist of a sequence of steps designed to rationally develop a desired solution. First, identifying a problem or opportunity. The first step is to recognize a problem or to see opportunities that may be worthwhile. A rational decision making model is best employed where relatively complex decisions have to be made. The first decision making lesson should be to ask yourself if you really have a problem to solve or a decision to make. Then read the article for the more specific advice, problem solving skill, finding the right problem to solve. Next, what is relevant and what is not relevant to the decisions? What do you need to know before you can make a decision or that will help you make the right one? What alternative courses of action may be available to you? What different interpretations of the data may be possible? Our problem solving activity uses a set of structured questions to encourage both broad and deep analysis of your situation or problem. Generate several possible options. Be creative and positive. Read the power of positive thinking for our 5 questions that create possibilities. Evaluation alternatives means what criteria should you use to evaluate? Evaluate for feasibility, acceptability, and desirability. Which alternative will best achieve your objective? Selecting a preferred alternative. Explore the provisional preferred alternative for the future possible adverse consequences that problems might it create. What are the risks of making these decisions? Put a plan in a place to implement the decision. Have you allocated resources to implement? Is the decision accepted and supported by colleagues? Are they committed to making the decision work? Now, types of decision making: strategic, tactical, and routine or operational. Each of these types of decision can also be defined by the type of data needed to support them. This decision should be classed as data driven decision making. So the impact of these types of decision is of a medium nature in terms of risk to the organization and impact on profitability. Operational or routine decision means are usually very frequent, hourly, daily, but can have a lesser impact on the decision. For example, how to answer a sales inquiry, approve a quotation, approve an invoice. The data used to drive this decision type is usually prescribed or defined in the procedure and rules of the organization. So that's the end of the video, my friends. If you like my blogs, Please subscribe and share it. Thanks again. Have a good day.